Good evening, everyone. My name is Arsen. I'm a quality assurance analyst at Armenia. Plus, I lead the QA team in Sky Division. So, thanks organizers for organizing this event and inviting. So, I'll be happy to present what is Optim, what we are doing, and what are the main challenges that we are having. So less words, more videos, right? Like everything. Let's go.
For thousands of years, people have been on the move, but at some point they got tired of walking and carrying their things. So they found other ways to get from point A to point B, by horse, by road, by rail, and by sea, and eventually through the air. As the world grew, more people went more places and wanted more things. So transportation networks became larger and more complex to satisfy this increasing demand. Eventually, these different modes of transportation started working together. Companies started transferring cargo and parcels between trucks, railroads, ships, and airplanes. Passenger transport evolved into mixed mode commuting, including rail links at major airports and park and ride facilities for buses and trains. As all of these networks became more intertwined, and as more traffic used them, increasingly complex decisions had to be made about where shipments and people go, when and how they get there, and how to deal with disruptions along the way. Sounds complicated? It is. But when you step back and look at the big picture, all of these elements are just movements on the network. And networks can be optimized. At Optim, it's our mission to optimize and automate transportation networks, from planning to operations and execution. We develop intelligent software solutions that help companies reduce costs, increase profitability, and improve service quality. Optim was founded in 2000 with its roots in academics, and in just a few years, our academic research was ready for the market. We focused on developing software for the rail industry. Gradually, we added advanced solutions for the airline, trucking, and mining industries as well. As we solved new business problems in different modes of transportation, we perfected our technologies, combining optimization and simulation in novel ways to develop next-generation solutions. We opened offices in Armenia, India, and Australia to access new talent and be closer to our global clients. Through all of this change, however, we remained the same team at heart. A team with deep expertise in transportation and logistics, operations research, computer science, data analytics, and user interface development. A team with top-notch academic credentials and a natural drive for creativity and innovation. A team with members from nearly 24 countries around the world, fostering diversity, cooperation, and understanding. A team with a relentless drive to solve real-world business problems and make a positive impact on society. Today, the transportation industry is facing unprecedented challenges. Thousands of decisions need to be made quickly across complex networks to run operations efficiently. An airline schedules thousands of flights and crews and hundreds of planes every day. A large LTL carrier routes millions of shipments over thousands of terminals, using tens of thousands of tractors, trailers, and drivers. A railroad assigns thousands of locomotives each day to the hundreds of trains it runs. These decisions are not easy, but they need to be made every day. And not only are they getting more complex every year, there's a shortage of skilled manpower to make these decisions, and relentless pressure to perform better and accommodate more. That's where Optim comes in. We're building decision automation systems that will partially or totally automate transportation. Decision automation naturally leads to optimization, since these systems can evaluate millions of decisions and implement the best one. At the heart of our decision automation systems are algorithms to create plans, to execute plans, and to analyze operations for better future performance. This is what we're doing, developing these with the common objective of running reliable operations, increasing profits, and improving service quality. The future of transportation is where advanced algorithms will drive all operations with minimum human intervention. Imagine hundreds of driverless trains moving on a rail network, automated rail yards processing thousands of cars every day, airline schedules that evolve automatically based on real-time passenger demand, automated supply chains moving iron ore or coal from mines to ports to ships, driverless cars and cab networks carrying passengers where they need to go. These technologies used to seem like science fiction, but they're actually just around the corner. So join us as we transform the world through decision automation. Together, there's no telling what we can do. Often, live efficiently.
All right, we're done video. I think we are done. We can wrap up and go on. No, just kidding. Let's just talk a little bit about us, what we do, guys. So any transportation that moves from point A to point B can be optimized. So what means optimization? We just, there are several constraints and limitations that you need to take account. But for nowadays, the first thing that companies take care is profit, right? You need to increase your profitability as much as you can. But at the same time, you need to provide quality of service, the robust schedules and environments that you can achieve this profit, right? In order keeping your own customers and gaining new ones. So at Optim, we do transportation optimization and optimization solutions that are targeted for a wide range of customers. And selected ones are here. So we operate in all transportation domains, from airlines to railroads to trucking. So here you can see some familiar names like FedEx, what else? Canadian Pacific Railways, Greyhound, and as you can see, our main clients are located in the US. And we operate mostly with my team in airline domain. So it's very complicated and specific domain, guys. And those names you see here, they are the top players in the industry, and they are very demanding and specific clients. To maintain and handle those guys, you need to work a lot. So what basically means airline network planning? So when I believe everyone travels a lot, and you use like ticketing systems like Orbit, Expedia. Even if you go to the booking office and you try to do a reservation, they go through the system, provide you certain options. We call them itineraries. Let's say if you want to fly to Moscow, there are like hundreds of options, which one to pick, right? So first of all, you count about price, how cheap is it? Second, how fast you get to Moscow. And the third, how much baggage you can carry, right? All these components are being considered when airline schedules are being generated. So our system creates operational schedules. Then this is being pushed to the commercial site. Once after reservation is done, it goes to the airport itself, so you can see operational schedules. So what is schedule? Arrival flights, departure flights, right? And all these are perfectly synchronized. One airplane lands to Yerevan, after 2 hours flies back to Moscow. So you cannot have any unutilized equipment, because as a business you are going to lose money. So first of all, you need to take care of this stuff. You maximally need to utilize the resources. And then you need to come up with operational schedules that you won't have any outlines, any breakdowns. Let's say if some flight is delayed, all your schedule cannot be harmed because of that. So moving forward, right? So airline network planning is a process of designing, creating, and publishing the airline flight schedules for airline industry with utilizing maximally your available resources. So you can ask like how frequently they are publishing these schedules, right? Typically they do this for 6 months. So let's say you have hundreds of plans that you need to cover certain destinations. You plan your schedule for 6 months. But of course, there are certain things that might affect on that. Let's say you have delays or some planes are broke, you cannot fly, so your schedule needs to be robust enough to cover those cases. Plus, for the long-term run, you need to also consider like your market coverage, like how frequently you need to fly to that city. And as a big player, so in my next slide, you can see that those are our customers, Southwest and EasyJet. So these guys, they have like around 800 planes. They operate within 100 airports, around 59,000 employees. So they own these airports or some terminals within these airports, and they cover 2 models, hub and spoke and point-to-point. I'll talk about that. And another outline in Europe, we consider it as a mid-size, so it has around 350 airplanes, covers like 135 cities within Europe with 13,000 employees. So these guys, basically, they need to provide very operational and robust schedules in order to maintain the market. So I might say something, not common for Armenia, but in Europe and in the United States, airlines are being used as a transportation to move from one point to another point. So lots of people, they wake up in the morning, they fly to another city, do their work and come back in the evening. So in order to provide this kind of complex system, you need to have almost perfect schedule design beforehand. Okay? So, and plus, within the day, from one city to another, you might have 10 flights, right? They are flying here and coming back. So you need to cover that market in order to beat your competitors, right? So when you build these kind of schedules, there are like lots of constraints that you need to consider, right? We have operational constraints and we have a business constraint. So operational, those are the constraints that cannot be violated. For example, like you have fixed number of airplanes and employees, so you cannot go beyond that, right? Or airport operational hours. So in Yerevan, it works almost 24 hours, but in the United States, you have restrictions. You cannot fly overnight, so you have like operational day start and end typically. And gate numbers. So this is also very strange because in Armenia you can come, this usually happens a lot in Moscow, you just land directly on the ground and they take buses and deliver to the airport. But in the United States, when you don't have a available gate, your airplane cannot land. So basically, if you are a Southwest company, you have a terminal which has like 56 gates, you cannot operate 56 flights at the same time. Beyond that, you cannot go. Okay? So when you create your schedule, you need to consider these two. Another thing is aircraft maintenance time. So basically, each equipment, which is a mechanical device, needs some maintenance. If it works maximally utilized, so you need to do a frequent maintenance. Otherwise, the safety is one of the high things in the airline industry that they take the worry about. Another thing is the passenger number. You have different types of airplanes which have like a limited number of capacity. Let's say if you have a Boeing which flies 300 seats, you cannot, sell more tickets than that 300, right? Number of originators and terminators. So this is a very interesting point too. Your airplane needs to ground and stay overnight. So you need to build such kind of schedule that in the morning when these airplanes are landed and stayed overnight, they need to restart their flights. And it's very complex network, as I'm trying to say. Another thing that just came recently, so it's very common in Europe, but in the United States they just start to go through this path. So slotted schedules. What that means, each airport, they have landing lines or departure lines. They are selling the slots. Let's say you can buy for 1 to 1:30 slot, and you can operate within that time frame. So basically, this all was not enough. We have a new challenge here. Plus some business constraints, guys. Marketing days. So usually your flights are within the operational hours, but plus you have the peaks when the passenger number are the highest and the lowest. So they came up with constraints. Marketing day. Fixed flights. So fixed flights are those kind of constraints that you fix the flight. That for 1:30 I need to operate from Yerevan to Moscow. No matter what happens, I won't change this flight, right? Plus iteration time, turn time, ticket fare, I talked about utilization also, resources, so, and hundreds of these kind of constraints. So as a software that tries to resolve all these issues, so when you consider how big it is, so in the end you end up multiplying all these constraints, so 750 planes times the crew number times multiplies its operation, and those like multiplication, all of this stuff brings up to the millions of schedules operational. So what are the best to select from this, right? You need to come up with a solution and pick one and publish this so people can go and order the ticket. So as a company, we consider all these constraints, we build the schedule from the scratch and provide to the customer. Plus, another thing that we need to take care of always is the time zone changes, because when you fly overseas, usually your time changes and you need to have this as a consideration. Plus, each city or each country can have a regulation, which is law regulation, which is completely weird. So, one small town in US, they came up with a regulation that 5:30 the planes cannot fly over the city. Can you imagine? Like, so it is totally weird, but it's a regulation. You need to consider those, right? So as a company, to target all these, questions, we have built 5 products: SkyMax, SkySync, SkyPass, SkyWorks, and SkyPlan. SkyMax basically creates that schedule from the scratch. You have hundreds of inputs, and based on that, application is building your schedule, right? SkySync, it is very interesting and unique product in the market. Basically, it tries to simulate the real life cases. Let's say some flights can be delayed, or some flights can be broken, or let's say you just have a hurricane. So this simulator basically trying to emulate that real life case, right? And show how your schedule is robust in these cases. SkyPass, basically, it is also a very interesting product. So it's trying to detect what kind of decision the users are going to make. When you go and search for the flight, it brings hundreds of options. So, but you select one of those, right? So this software also tries to cover that part, just to try to predict what is going to be the high demanding ones, right? SkyWorks is basically gives you the possibility to real-time edit the schedule, whatever you're creating. And SkyPlan basically shows you like the market specific solutions. Let's say how many flights you need to have for that market, why, what times, basically tries to build everything for you. So as you can see, we have like 5 very complicated softwares which are united within one suite. And as a software solution, it's completely crazy. You have hundreds of computational nodes. You have application server, you have engine server, you have hundreds of load balancers. Basically, it's totally mess, and we as a QA team need to test this. Plus, all this is now migrated to Azure, to cloud, so lucky us, right? As a team, testing what we do at Optim. So we work with developers using the Agile 2-week sprints. We have every year 2 big releases, and QA team needs to sign off. If we don't sign, it does not go to customer. Plus, we also maintain the bug lifecycle. Whatever issue is reported from customer internally or externally, it goes to our gateway. So we are monitoring and handling all the bugs. So, plus as a tester, we cover functional testing 100%, UI UX 100%, performance 100%, integration 50%, other 50% is done by developers. API again 50%, and 2 challenging sites, engine testing and business testing. So all these as professionals in Armenia, we are more or less now, and you can find a really good specialist. But these 2 are very domain specific and very kind of painful to handle. So let's just talk about challenges, right? So as you see, we have very specific domain, complicated, and software solution. So to handle this, we came up, I outlined like a couple of challenges, but besides that we have lots, so just 5 names we can concentrate today. Very specific business domain, so you need to know everything there in order to do a proper testing if you don't consider only functions. Right? Complex engine inputs. So as that input, we have hundreds of data sets, which just goes directly to engine and being processed by engine. And after that, some outputs are being generated. So these outputs need to be tested as well. Plus, we have a very big workload, and with these 5 products, we have multiple clients, so test coverage also should be appropriate, right? Another thing is our complicated software solution. Plus, I just put here additional challenge our international team and clients. So you saw that we have 4 locations, and English here is top priority. Besides English, you need to be able also to communicate, right? All right, so specific business domain, right? What is this? So International Air Transportation Association, IATA. So this is kind of a global company which handles the key components in airline network planning, right? So they came up with the format. This, if you see, it's a schedule published, just beats rather than saying nothing. So as a tester, each space means something here. We need to know it 100% in order to do proper testing. Terminology. There are hundreds of words that are being used in this industry, and all of them mean something. So you need to also be fully, trained in order to understand what they are talking about. And of course, key performance indicators. So somehow you need to measure your schedule, right? Is it good or bad? So they have KPIs which are being used to evaluate your schedule. And of course, there are hundreds of corner cases. Just one example, guys. You are operating from Moscow to United States, right? You are flying over the seas, and during your flight, the daylight saving is being changed, right? So your flight, your arrival time is going to be 1 hour less, and all these, affects on your farther flight. So you need to handle all this. And as a testing, you need to be aware of all of this stuff and handle it properly during your tests. So how we handle this, right? Fortunately, we have hired lots lots of professionals from airline domain. So all our product owners, BAs, they are professionals, and they are fully proficient to give us all this knowledge whatever we need. So we do a frequent training sessions with them in weekly basis, and slowly our testing also is becoming one of them. Plus, our company gives like 1 hour daily self-learning time, so each employee they are free to learn, and basically we focus on needed areas to learn, right? And business trips to our customer side. So currently we cover this to our senior staff, but later we want to cover for all the QA team. So basically what is this? Our QA, they are flying to US, and with our product owners of DA, they are traveling to the customer side, and they are doing like 2-3 days interactions there, training, so they are becoming more and more familiar with the product. So the next challenge is the inputs that are being fit into our application, right? So imagine our front-end application, which is WPF, by the way, I didn't mention. So this application is collecting all the necessary inputs that need to be sent to the engine, and then it's being sent to the engine, right? So as an input, we have like several layers, like global cases that I mentioned, then we have scenario levels, so we have hundreds of data sets, plus input parameters. So you can have like lots of combination of these parameters. So any parameter is here can dramatically change your schedule. So in order to do a proper testing and evaluate your generated schedules, you need to understand all this what's happening there. Plus job types. So currently we cover 13 different job types. From clean sheet, that means that you generate your schedule from the scratch. And some improvements, some violation fixes, so basically 13 of those. And lots of like business constraints, not operational, they can be relaxed. So basically, if you feed into the engine your constraints and you say you cannot operate after 6 a.m., we also give opportunity to engine to relax. 15 minutes this way, that way. So once that relaxation is done and schedule is generated, so according to profit, so your network planner can open your schedule and manually edit using one of our tools. So as you understand, also it's a very challenging thing to understand and be familiar with. So we also try to use here again our business team here, plus our senior staff. They are very proficient now, and they do periodic trainings. Plus, of course, tasks, internal and internal documentation. So during our sessions, you heard a lot that we have problems with technical specification, with documentation. It is true. And we have that problem also in our company, but 90% we can say that our business team covers. Because if we don't have clear specification, even developer, the product is very specific. They cannot just take and implement, right? They need to have well-defined specifications. So, lucky us, we have that. So once all this input is fed into the engine, so engine generated the schedule and some output is coming out, right? So once it came out, is it good or bad, right? You need to have enough knowledge to analyze and give the grade to the schedule. So KPIs, as I mentioned, is one of the key tools to estimate and evaluate your schedule. You have KPI sets and subsets, so there are like hundreds of KPIs are being generated. So you need at least like 60% of those you need to understand what they mean. And besides just validating functionally, right? You need also to understand the meaning of that KPI and give a proper grade. It's good or bad. Flight flights and routes. So it's very interesting here, guys, here. So all these rectangles you see here, they are like the flights. So it operates from JFK to from LAX to Midway. So basically it's a local US schedule. So network panels, they just like this tool. They open and they can see like the equipment, we call it the airplane, the daily schedule, how it goes. So as you can see, all the airplanes, each line represents one airplane, operates maximum. So they don't keep that airplane on the ground. When it starts from this airport, come to this, there are like 30 minutes and then it flies to another. So our business team says like more your airplane stays on the ground, you lose more money. So it's a US company, they go for profit, maximum profit here. So you need to understand all these KPIs here, plus each component here, what it represents, because these small dots here represent a crew change. So there is another regulation in the United States. Your pilots cannot fly more than certain amount of time, it depends, they operate locally or internationally. So after this time is elapsed, they need to change the crew. So basically, airplane lands in one airport, one crew comes out, they go for a rest for 1 hour, another crew comes to the airplane, and the flight is being operated by a totally different crew. So again, we rely on our business team here. Plus, one big difference here, we start automation. So your KPIs, just look as a completely stranger individual here. So it's just a number, right? Your engine does something and produce these KPIs. For us, it's just a pure number. It can be number A or number B. So if you are long enough in this business and you have like a clear understanding what's happening, you can say number A makes sense or not, or number B makes sense or not. So basically as an automation, you can generate all these KPI values and then take as a base value and compare. If these values are not within your expected range, so they are bad ones, so you can reject the schedule. So basically, lucky us, we can manage this in automation. So, automation, what you are doing, guys. So basically, we try to automate whatever we can. Full UI functional, business flow test, API performance. So we have separate, isolated environments for all of these test types, and we started to use the state-of-the-art, the latest available tools. So for UI functional, we use RunnerX, bounded with Visual Studio. For performance, we use JMeter and LoadRunner. For API, it's JMeter, sometimes Soft UI, and executive CI, we use TeamCity and Jenkins. So let me just, it's a typical flow, everything is being controlled by your CI, and after executing your automation scripts, everything is being pushed to TestRail, so then we download the reports from TestRail directly. So let me just come to this slide, and it's a little bit kind of technical, but I try to keep it like very simplified flow diagram. So RunnerX, we use just the base DLLs from there. Then we created a wrapper. So it's completely on-house made Visual Studio based application. So all these methods from RunnerX is being wrapped on our environment, just to make sure that we are not dependent on RunnerX. We can easily change whenever it's needed. Then we can three different cascade of layers, like modules, tests. Why we did this? So basically, on test layer, you just call some methods and build your test logic here. But in the middle level, you need to build these methods, right? So as a team, we realized realized that we cannot have just pure manual testers and automation testers. So you heard a lot today that people they just get bored and they just go for new challenges. So we have decided that in our team we are going to have a full stack testers, right? They are going to do like automation and manual testing, but of course there are some problems here because you cannot have like fully proficient coders and manual testers in one person, right? So to resolve this, we came up with a solution that we can have professional developers which will build these two layers. This layer for sure with this, but these two layers can be handled by our QA team. So basically, you don't need to be 100% developers to operate within this framework. So if you are proficient enough, you can go like a mid-layer, but if you are a starter, you can start from the base level. And it's a good challenge for a starter just to dive in and understand what's happening in coding, right? So there another like a big challenge here was like to handle multiple products in one framework and multiple clients. So architecturally we were able to resolve that. So I think it's completely different topic to talk. So let's just move forward. Another like a challenge because you solved that like 5 completely different products and hundreds of test cases. When you run your regression, and we need to do this like within 2 weeks period. So our team has a limited resources. We cannot just run all the application or all the test cases for every kind of regression cycle. So we have decided to build 3 different layers, like a full regression when you execute everything. Your automation scripts, your manual test cases, and of course we include exploratory testing. So I think you are already familiar with this term. It's very, very good way of testing because you find lots of issues in your tests using this method, right? So another level, let's say if you are releasing just a targeted feature, right? So you don't need to go and test everything from scratch. Let's say if you are doing a release for Skywars. Yes, of course, you need to go and make sure that SkySim is working too, but your main focus is Skywars. So in this case, you do like a full automation suite regression, which covers all this space functionality, but manually we try to focus on our feature that is being released. And on the live regression, usually we do this for hotfixes, let's say for certain area which we have like a critical issue needs to be delivered. We run our full automation suite, then we test specifically that issue that's being delivered, and then we cover our exploratory testing as well. Okay? Okay, and another like the last challenge that I'd like to talk about is our complicated solution software. So these guys, they are like very kind of handy professionals, our developers, and they usually come up with like new architecture, like more advanced tools, and it's kind of a challenge for us to keep up with them. Because we learn certain DB queries for SQL, right, let's say, right? And then one day they decide to switch to Mongo, so kind of big data kind of handle tool, and they actually it's more proficient to use. But for us as testers, we need to keep up with them, right? And new technology change brings new challenges. And we try to cover this internally because developer team is located in Armenia with us, so they just sit next door. Good for us. Any questions we have, we just go directly to them, and they speak Armenian. So as you can see, like lots of challenges in our company, and finding good specialists is really difficult for us. And we have decided to do this, right? Last year was like a second our internship program. hired, so Optim decided to do like internal trainings and directly hire from them. And last year we started for QAs as well. So there was like 300 applicants and 100 of them were for QA positions. So hundreds of them were selected, 25 QAs. So we did 2 months intensive technical trainings. After that, some of them were selected, so I believe we selected around 12 QAs and 16 developers. And then we started 1 month hands-on trainings. So basically what they did, they just come to our company, they signed disclosure forms for sure, and we started to work in our real tools, in our real environment, accessing fully to our all the products and resources. So they have been trained fully based on Optim needs, right? And in the end, 10 interns were hired, 4 of them were QAs. So what was the initial target, and we succeed or not? So for sure we found the brightest minds, and all these specialists were being trained based on our needs. So plus they were like kind of introduced to these complicated and specific domains that are going to work. So right after hiring, they started to provide really high outputs because they were ready. So basically, through this kind of stages, we have kind of eliminated this 3 months probation period. Of course, technically we had it, but all of them were hired, and our management was very happy with that. So we all plan to continue this practice and train the specialists based on our needs. Okay. I believe this is my last slide. So I hope as the last presentation was not that boring. So please go ahead and ask questions. I'll be very happy to provide the answers on clarifications that you'd like to get. And of course, we hire, so I don't like this slide that usually people put, but if you are interested, you can go and look for options. So, any questions?
I saw in one of the slides there were mentioned about KPI analyzing automation, something like that. So how are you handling that in terms of any automation used there?
Yes, of course. We have 2 different types, right? One directly from UI, so we use our Randorix and Visual Studio bundle. So basically you do all these steps from the scratch, like feeding your inputs, execute the jobs, and extract all these generated KPIs, and within the software you analyze. They are good or bad. And the second way, you just directly inject into the engine, because those are like some different services. You can use your API knowledge in order directly to feed into the engine. So we handle both of them, but currently we came up. It depends like what kind of scale of problems you're trying to resolve. If you are trying to test the engine, for sure it's better to inject directly into the engine. But at the application side also, you need to make sure that your KPIs are being generated properly, right? So basically, we use Randorix Visual Studio bundle to test through the UI, and then we use our JMeter to test through API.
You say that your company is optimized everything, yes?
Yes.
So
Not ourselves.
I saw that I thought that you migrated to Azure, yes, cloud
Yes.
service, but you're still using Jenkins.
No, Jenkins is for our internal, for our QA team. So our native, all this continuous integration development system is based on Teams.
Yes, but why don't you use Azure DevOps? Visual Studio 10 services, because this tool is optimized to work with Azure Cloud and Visual Studio and etc. 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 It's just I want to use it.
Yeah, I hope our devs were here and they could answer this question. But from our perspective, right, everything is being deployed and developed locally. So we have our local servers, but it's being delivered to client as our cloud, right? So as the development is done locally in our local servers, they decided to go through TeamCity. But on the other side, for sure, the deployment is organized also based on CI, right? So this process, I believe they handle using internal tools that Azure is using, right? So I just presented you the internal development and testing, which is done. But the delivery, I believe they are using the tools.
Yes, but you can use this tool. I'm not an evangelist of Microsoft. Our company is used this software of Microsoft, and we build our process and testing with this Azure DevOps tool, and it works pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. So, as a company that has like almost unlimited resources, they do lots of POCs, and I'll ask them to do one of Azure too, right? Is it good for us to migrate there? But our current processes, we use TeamCity for local deployment and development.